It's been a while since I posted a video. I was planning on writing some scripts for some non-SRP2 videos during my break, but I quickly found out that constant stress during revision time and tests makes me lose all writing ability, and the 2 or 3 scripts I wrote were so bad I had to scrap them. So now we're back to old reliable SRB2 with a mod that was recommended to me a day after I left, the Derp. The Derp is a Lovecraftian abomination deep from the mind of soap surfing, who you'll most likely know for the SBO mod that I like a little too much. All things considered, he's quite simple, with his moveset consisting of 2 abilities, a bounce and a boomerang. The bounce is really nothing to write home about. You get 3 bounces before the Derp strikes a pose and cuts you off from doing any more. It's quite satisfying to use. Never feels like you're going too low or too high. The height gained per bounce is consistent and has a good sense of momentum and inertia. His ball sprite seems a little small, but I think that's to do with the fact that it's just his body with his limbs and face unceremoniously ripped off. He strikes a pose upon hitting his bounce limit, which stops you from doing any more as well as gives you a comedic moment. Some of these poses are apparently memes, although I didn't recognise any, which I'm sure will strike the nerve of some people. Meme characters get a pretty poor rep with the SRB2 community, partially because most feel their appeal wears off pretty quickly and then you're left with a boring character, but I think it's inoffensive at worst here. None of the memes are particularly obvious and you can always use the pose set command if you want to toggle how often they appear. The Derp's second ability is a boomerang. Once you press spin, the Derp will rip his own ear off and throw it at an enemy. Ignore the guy's goofy grin, he's messed up to the point where he feels self-amputation is an efficient way to dispose of enemies. Ignoring his willingness to do such an act, how the ears are sharp enough to do any damage, and how they magically reappear once thrown, the boomerang does have a few ways it could improve. Firstly, it currently can't be used in mid-air, instantaneously limiting its usage, as you can't use it after bouncing or jumping. Secondly, the E has an inconsistent tracking capability, as sometimes it can attack enemies automatically from sizable distances, sometimes it can attack enemies from those same distances only after being aimed mid-flight, and sometimes it can only hit enemies right in front of it. Finally, it does have wall interaction physics. Considering it travels in a curved path, these are impressive, but it does sometimes mean it can be overly difficult to hit item boxes, especially considering the lack of an alternate way to hit them. Ignoring whether you think the Derp is a cute cartoon or a horrifying abomination of nature, his sprites are good. There's a real sense of 3D that many sprite-based characters in this game lack, especially from the side. His poses are playful, and his expressions are exaggerated and unique. All things considered, I found this quite surprising. The Soap Surfing's SBO mod main flaw was his basic sprites. All his vanilla sprites, I make the distinction because his battle mod sprites are significantly better, were quite clinical, and he barely ever changed expression. So knowing a past modded creator, with a much smaller development team to boot, was so much better in this regard seems quite odd. The Derp is a monster that needs to be destroyed before he can spread to other games or modes, but he is also a well-polished mod that excels in some of the areas so many other mods fail in. He has a real sense of playfulness in how he moves and acts, and he does feel quite 3D. Sadly, the fact that his boomerang still has plenty of areas to be improved in does limit him to a high 7 out of 10, but I see that improving with a couple of tweaks. Please be careful when downloading him though. We don't want his kind spreading out of control. Enjoy the rest of this footage, and ciao.